We have been in a fog, and as we emerge, we see that the world's been pushed to the brink, and so have you. I'm Dr. David Owers, I'm the Doc of DeFi, and I invite you onto another cold plunge. So this is number 8, and by this point, the lifeguards are giving their heads a shake because every time I get there, they have to leave their comfortable covered space and get up onto the lifeguard chair. Anyways, I am finding the evolution through these plunges pretty interesting. So the first 4, which I didn't really capture on video because they weren't that long, I was just coming out here to reestablish the habit, and I have to say that is when I was just getting in there, feeling quite tense the whole time, um, keeping all of my limbs close to my body, and just staying there for a minute or two and getting out and saying I did my cold plunge. By the time I started recording these videos to tell you I've been having cold plunges, I've been able to just relax once I get inside, still not really taking it all in for the next 3 or 4 or 2 or 3, sorry. And in these last couple, I've been able to just take it all in, get in, relax, do a few back floats, do a few strokes, swim strokes, and just listen to the birds and take a gander at all the scenery around me. So it is interesting to see the evolution, and the mechanism at play here is the fight or flight. So the fight or flight is an autonomic group of programs that serve you, keep you alive. And way back when, thousands of years, it literally kept you alive. And one of the signals that you were in danger was cold. Now, back then it was extremes of cold that could actually, do you in. Right now, thank goodness, most of us don't put ourselves in that position. But cold is cold, and that's what starts to get turned on. And that's why we have in our notion that these cold plunges are not good for you, or an extreme, and don't quite understand what it can really benefit anybody. It's like skydiving, for instance. It's a choice, but how does that relate to everybody? But this is an example of you being hijacked. So you are being hijacked into thinking that all things cold are bad for you. And if this hijacking can occur, you know, as your very nature, other people can understand that and start playing the hijack game as well. And that is exactly what's going on and what has been going on in modern times. So the other place where you're being hijacked is by big food and big transport and big corp. And I'm talking about the food choices that exist, the food messaging that exists, things that have been going on now, roughly from about the 1940s. And this is some of the ways that you start to make choices that in your past maybe were healthy or considered healthy through messaging, but as a matter of fact really aren't. And your knowledge around this has been hijacked. But it's more clever than that, because the food choices that you made when you were younger, in pleasant situations, family gatherings, friends, birthdays, whatever else, might not have been the best ones, but they become your definition of comfort food. And then when cravings arise, you have comfort food cravings, and the cycle continues. Another place that you can get hijacked is in your finances. So big bank and big finance is what I call them. And it's your thinking around what it is to have wealth, what it is to have assets, what it is to have the wherewithal to buy your way through life. And this again is messaging that's where you've been hijacked. You've been programmed to think that banks and cards and investments only go one certain way, and there's no other way about that. And that, in fact, your assets are not worth very much. You don't get a lot of interest on them. So this sort of hijacked programming um, is there as well. But here we are at quite a pivotal time because of a paradigm shift. And of course, you all know what I'm going to say. It's the blockchain, the metaverse, and the crypto space. Because now we have a completely different way of showing you what assets and wealth and finance is. And it's a peer-to-peer, and you are allowed to show up and learn rather easily and exert your autonomy and be an individual in that space. And this is a paradigm shift. And this is the 3.0 version of things. And I'm here to say that that same thing can happen in all the other areas in which you've been hijacked. Namely, your health, yourself, you. There actually is a 3.0 version of you. There's an up-leveled version, there's a next level you that awaits. If only you had the right knowledge to get unhijacked from the decades of training that you've had through big corp, big food, big transport, etc. So just food for thought. Think about the ways that maybe you've been hijacked and see if whether or not that's causing some resistance for you to be discovering a whole new way of being. And you know, if there's a paradigm shift similar to the one we see in finances and how big that is, think about a similar paradigm shift in your health. And think about going from version 2.0 of you to version 3.0 of you would do for how you see the world and how you function the rest of your life. All right, we'll catch you on the next video.